Hey, we're here with Mike. We're having a conversation about heaven. Mike, do you believe in heaven?
Yes, sir, I do.
So here's the $1 million question. Let's say you're standing in front of God and God's like, why should I let you into heaven? What would you say to him?
I believe, for me personally, I believe that Jesus died for my sins. There's nothing I can do that would allow me into heaven personally. Trying to live my life for Christ is what allows me to go to heaven.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that in order to go to heaven, I have to believe in God and do a bunch of things? Or are you saying that I have to put my complete trust in what Jesus did for me on the cross?
I absolutely have to put all my belief in what Jesus did for me on the cross. There is no good. I can't live my life good enough to get into heaven.
That's awesome. That's what we like to hear. Now, the second question I have for you is, do you ever, in your conversations with your friends and family, talk with people about subjects like this, like heaven and how a person would go to heaven?
Probably not as often as I need to and should, but yes, we do have those conversations, especially in our family around the dinner table. We talk about our day, kind of, things that God presented us with and how we dealt with them.
Okay. Can I ask you, in your experience in life and as a believer, how did the conversation normally go when you've talked to people who aren't sure how to go to heaven? How do those conversations normally go?
I've had that conversation with my brother, my stepbrother, a long time ago, and he finally became saved. But it's difficult to start that conversation. That's probably one of the hardest conversations as a believer that I have to have with someone who doesn't believe that, and be able to break it down as simply as possible to be able to get the point across, to let them know the awesome thing that Jesus did for us.
Awesome. Like one of the things that we're doing here with like this little document is we're filming a little mini clips on how to present the faith. So if you guys would be interested, like our website will be, it's not up yet.
It's kind of up. It's 116rs.org.
116rs.org. And like we film conversations about, like with people like in places like this, about how to go to heaven.
That's awesome. I love that.
Awesome. I guess. Yeah.
Christy.
One of the things that I always try to emphasize to people is that, he is the vine and we're the branches that come off of that. And we are the vessel that can help people to know more about him. So it's kind of like an L. It comes straight down from him through to us, out to others. And so that's kind of, because we work with teenagers, and so that's kind of one of the things that we tell them is that, you are the one who presents the gospel, and you need to just be comfortable in sharing your faith and what you believe. That having Jesus in your life, and if you're living your life Christ-like, you shouldn't be ashamed.
So, in your opinion, like what's the biggest obstacle to Christians sharing their faith?
I believe it's a misconception that we hate people, that we hate, the lifestyles that they live, and that's not necessarily, especially for me, not necessarily the case. I don't hate people, but I don't condone a lot of the way they live their lives, but they take that as hate, and I can still love the person and hate the sin, and there's a huge gap for me personally on the way I view those two things.
That's true. I think it's
fear.
It's fear. Like I think a lot of people aren't sure what to say.
Right.
Well, yeah, and for me, I think a lot of people are expecting Christians to come up and whip the Bible out of their back pocket, smack them in the head with it, and explain, you're doing this all wrong. And I believe that a lot of the way Christians used to approach people was that way. I think we've made great strides in our approach to be able to spread the gospel. We're not just in your face. where, you know, if you want to sit down next to us and ask us why we believe what we believe, we'll tell you. You
A
know,
lot of it's you have to love people, and I think it's through building those relationships and love that they learn to trust you and know that hey, Christians aren't bad people. They're good people. They want to love you and help you.
I think all that's important and true, but I think lifestyle evangelism only goes so far. Like there comes a point where we're gonna have to open our mouth and say something. Like the waiter at Applebee's is not gonna say, "Oh, I noticed you guys didn't order beer. Like, tell us about Jesus." It's not gonna happen. We have to.
Yeah, and you know, those conversations come up quite a bit. Especially, you know, I work in the construction field. You know, those guys like to live a little hard, but I live separate from that. You know, and they've asked me about it. You know, hey, you don't drink? No, I don't drink. You know, that's a choice I made a long time ago not to drink. I just choose to, you know, live a different lifestyle than that, and I live my life for Christ the best I can. And you know, those conversations come up quite a bit, especially in the field of work that I'm in.
Well, excellent. It's nice talking with you, Mike and Christy.